It's a good sunny day. It's the 2nd of April 2025. I'm trying to get a grip on all the solar power developments, ways to save your electricity and all of that. So there are 3 ways heat is transferred over a distance. And the first is from the sun to the earth. It's done by, oh, my cat just comes in for a look in. The sun to the earth, it's transferred by means of radiation, okay? Please excuse the cat. It's transferred by means of radiation, and that's electromagnetic radiation. That's the same as makes your radio work or allows people to speak using radios. And visible light that you can see, you can reflect off an object, is radiation. It's electromagnetic radiation. All heat and all is electromagnetic radiation based on the disturbance of atoms someplace and the emission of energy from those atoms, which can travel without any medium such as a liquid or a solid or anything else. The light and the heat of the sun travels through radiation. When it arrives on the earth, it hits the air and it converts some of that into convection, which is the transfer through a medium like a liquid or whatever. It can be transferred by means of convection. And then there's conduction. And conduction is the transfer through a substance. The two don't have to be the one. For example, you could heat a piece of copper with a set of a torch, a blowtorch, and put a penny on top of it, and it'll heat the penny because it's in touch with the copper. Okay, now these are black bales on a farm, and I put my hand down here and I feel that on this good bright morning, with the sun has been up for a while, that there's no real heat to feel there, even though they're black. So there's no real heat to feel. And although the reason the cat is here is that she's getting heat from the bales, probably. They seem to love to absorb heat. Now here is the green corrugated iron door of the shed, the cattle shed, one of the cattle sheds. Okay, now, if it's sunny, if I feel it, it's warm. It's definitely warm. So that heat is much greater than the surrounding heat. It couldn't pick up that heat from convection or conduction, because the surrounding air is a lot less. The surrounding air here is about, I would think, about 10 degrees centigrade at best. It's about 10 degrees centigrade. Whereas this here, this is 21 or 2 degrees centigrade, easily, if not 25. I mean, you could feel that that'd be lovely temperature in a house. So it's radiation that's heating that, because there isn't the conduction or convection from the surrounding air or any other substance that's touching it. I now go inside and I feel it here inside. Now the surface here is white, and you can't keep these clean. It might get a power washing at some stage, but that's dust from the surrounding environment with cattle and all. But I can feel it. Now I'm going to go over here. The temperature outside here is about 21 degrees. The temperature inside here is about 19 degrees. Now what's happening is that the radiation from the sun is hitting the green, which is a good colour outside, and the heat is transferred through the corrugated iron surface by means of conduction. It's moving through the steel and metal by the means of conduction. So if you heat the end of a wire nail, a 6-inch nail, it won't just stay where you're heating it, it will travel up the nail and heat the other end of it as well and burn your fingers if you're not careful, okay? So in here then, when I feel it here, the air is slightly warmer. If I put my hand over close here, I feel that it's slightly warmer. And that warmth is the air coming from this surface moving outwards. And as I pull my hand away, it gets colder and colder. And another big influence on this is the action of the wind, the movement of the breeze, and the movement of the air. Now, the movement of the air doesn't affect too much anyway the heat from radiation. So here we have, and please understand it's difficult to do this on my own, but here I can feel this. This is 21 degrees. And there's a strong cold wind, a strong wind of about 10 degrees that should pull away this heat and is pulling away the heat. This soft surface here would be warmer were it not for the wind cooling it. The wind is acting like an engine of a lawnmower. The air is taking away the heat through the fins of the surrounding cylinder. So the radiation's hitting it. The wind it's converting it into heat inside in the material, and the outside wind is cooling it. So that is an inefficiency factor. I go inside and I feel that the heat is coming through the galvanized iron and the paint by conduction. It's not coming from radiation, and it's not coming from convection. If I take my hand over here to a fresh piece and feel it, certainly, and I put my face to it. Now, as I put my nose to it, I don't know, can you see there? And I have my glasses on, I'll take the glasses off, I put my nose to it. There is good heat, lovely, comfortable heat. Lovely, comfortable heat. Just a half an inch away from the galvanized. Get my point? Or from the steel. Take it again. Now, as I put my head to it, I feel the convection heat coming from the steel. They'll be writing here that, oh, you have a dirty shed. This is what happens over the winter. You have to power wash it every so often. I don't apologise to anybody. It's no harm at all. Now, the thing is that when you touch it here, the heat conducts. It conducts to my nose or my hand directly from the iron to the whatever my hand is made up of. And I feel it that way. But if I put my face over very close, I feel a lovely heat, about an inch, up between an inch and a half inch beside it. And that's convection. I don't know, can you see me there? And then as I touch it, it gets nearly too hot to touch, and that's conduction. So now it's conducting it to my head. Now it's convecting it to my head, but none of that is radiation. There is nearly no radiation coming from the inside. Now, I hope that makes it clear. As I understand the solar panels, and I'm only going by what I'm told because I've never done a test. As I understand the solar panels, there's two types. There's one that fill copper pipes, blackened copper pipes with water. And someone posted there that you can actually boil the water using the copper pipes in good condition. I think the way to do them is to put the pipes in a panel, and they put plastic, like perspex, over them. And that's to keep the air, the surrounding air, from cooling them down. That would make an awful lot of sense. And then the water is brought in for you to shave or whatever. Now, that's only heat. There is no electricity there. If you connected that to a radiator in the house on a very hot day, you would transfer the heat from the solar panels into the house and let it out through a radiator inside. A radiator does not work on radiation, it works on convection. Have you that now? So you can transfer the heat of the sun from outside the roof, inside the roof, by the medium of water, inside the house by the medium of water. You can shave, shower, or do what you wish with it. And then when the sun goes down at night, you'll have a bit of heat left in the water. You'll have less in the winter time, obviously, than the summertime. And these are all to be spoken about in a different video or whatever. That's water heating. So, solar. Let's get it straight. There's two types. It doesn't either have to be water. It could be a different medium which is put through a heat exchanger. Doesn't matter. Okay. Now, so that's the water heating, which transfers the radiated heat from the sun into conductive heat of the metal in the black coloured copper panels or whatever they are, pipes, and that transfers it into the water, which transfers it by means of convection through the substance, atom to atom, the same as heating the end of a spoon or putting a hot spoon into soup. The end of the spoon gets hot. The other type is these photocells. Now, my understanding of those is that while the heat from the sun, as in this door here, does warm the cell maybe a little bit, it makes it a wee bit more efficient from the wee bit of heat that's surrounding it and that. The way they work by taking the radiated heat from the sun in the form of radiation, electromagnetic radiation of a particular wavelength, and they convert that to direct current electrical energy. Direct current electrical energy. That is as old as Methuselah. I remember old people long ago talking about it. You could have a photoelectric cell 50 years ago. There's no big secret about it. You can take the heat and light from the sun, the photons, and turn them into electricity. And then if you bring that in through a wire, you can turn that directly back into light or heat as you can by using mains electricity or a battery. Okay, that electricity is direct current. And then it has to be converted into alternating current by an inverter. So whenever the conversation is taking place, you've got to get these things clarified. You wouldn't buy a tractor to drive to work 40 miles away every day. You'd buy a car. You wouldn't buy a car to cut the silage. That's how different these two things are. Let's get that straight. The PV, is that what they call them, photo panels or photovolt, whatever they are, they generate direct current electricity. Direct current electricity. I presume, and we'll get more on this from contributors, I'm very thankful to your contributions. I presume you could have both. You could have water pipes on the roof, water panels, and you could have these photo PV cells, voltage cells. I presume you could have both. Not too sure, but I don't see why you wouldn't. So then, with the electricity one, you generate electricity. I'll just show you me here talking. I don't know. Can you see me there? Just to say hello. Right. You generate electricity, direct current. You put it through a device called an inverter, and you have electricity, you have alternating current electricity, single phase. Single phase. Now, I don't know, for some reason, there's some Oh, I'm back again. I'll soon be letting them out. The electricity system is three-phase polyphase. It's three-phase alternating current at 50 hertz. It has to be kept exactly 50 hertz. The power station sends all power out as three wires, three phases. It comes to a local substation, and it's usually sent out by means of three wires on the pole. There's several examples of that. One is between Cavan and Ballygymsduff. There's a three-wire system running the whole way to Ballygymsduff, and it's needed three-phase to drive big electric industrial motors. The domestic supply is tapped off that with a single phase. That's two wires. Off the three-phase, any two wires will give you a 240 volt alternating current. That's all you need for most applications. So what has been said to me, and what they're saying is happening here, is that you can generate electricity by means of your voltage panels using radiated energy, light from the sun, and you can convert that into its direct current into alternating current by means of inverters. And then you can connect that to the grid. Now, what I'll have to find out more, and I must say I'm out of my depth here, how do you get the phase of the inverter in line with the grid? It must have to be connected to the grid so that it absorbs the same phase as the grid. So it can't work without the grid, and that's the first red flag to look out for. If you can't power your house on its own, what good is it? Now, there is a system in many of the farm supply shops of a 12-volt inverter that will charge a 12-volt battery and will give you light. You could use small applications. And there are solar power battery chargers, but if you have the alternator working on the tractor, you don't really need it. The supply is small. Now, do you get what I'm saying to you? How do they get it fed into the grid? They must use the inverter connected to the grid so that it absorbs the phase of the mains line and gives out the same. That's probably possible. But inverters will not work correctly. There cannot be any more than 66, 67% of the grid inverter or direct current supplied or non-synchronous power. There has to be 34% of the power. 34% of the power made from big rotors inside of generators. Now, the previous video, the previous door was south facing. This is north facing. This is stone cold. This metal here is about 7 degrees. It's cold, proving that the direct sunlight is needed in order to generate the heat. If conduction or convection in the air was working, this would be warm. This is a south-facing one on the opposite side of the shed. I'm now back at the south-facing door again, and I feel it, and it's warm. It's lovely and warm. So somebody made the comment that if you are connected to the grid with your solar panels, and hello, I'm facing the camera this way. With the solar panels, you're connected to the grid. If the power goes out, as in the recent storm, those solar panels would still be generating electricity, and the repairmen would have to go around to each house and disconnect the supply being fed into the grid. Otherwise, there'd be somebody hurt when they touch the wires. There'd be a feedback of electricity up through the cabling. There's nothing about this anywhere. This is all a closely guarded secret. When I tell you technical stuff, I always test it myself. And clearly for me to test solar panels is not that easy. If I talk about welding or brazing or buying equipment or buying generators, I have experience. So I use that experience to inform my opinion. But I can't be everywhere and I can't do everything. You get my point? So now, I haven't answered all your questions, but I've gone a bit towards answering all your questions. The other point is, when the electricity company gets your solar electricity in by inverted power, what good is it on the grid? Can they switch off their power plant? Well, the answer is the bold Eamon Ryan, the former Minister for Energy, he decided we could turn off the electricity. It never occurred to him or his government that there's no electricity, no solar power at night, and it decreases a big time on a dark day, overcast, wet, windy day, or a wet day. This is ideal conditions today. But that never occurred to him. But he ordered the shutting down of conventional plant, believing that was all right. And I have discovered they're burning 56 lorry loads of ordinary diesel fuel a day to make up the shortfall for the efficient plant. The diesel fuel is not even half as efficient as the combined cycle gas turbines and the condensing steam generators that they had originally. So this is the idiocy. So we're dealing with a culture of lies and idiocy, and I have to try and advise and figure what the story is with solar energy. I've given you some of the pitfalls. One of them is your deeds. Watch what they do with your property, as they're a record on your deeds. The other thing I discovered is that they decrease in output a lot. They can go down to 88% over a particular period. That's not much good. So there's been no assessment, of course, as required by law. That's to be expected. So we see that point about the legal obstacles. And I also made a video and I showed about the leaks and the electricity escaping. You need to check that to make sure you're not paying for electricity never used. But, so with that in mind, and we see the government preparing to allow industries to sell their electricity. So the contract that was between the people and the industry and the government to supply them with clean, with good, reliable electricity is broken. They've ruined it by messing with the system, and many highly qualified engineers, including I know one engineer who inspects power stations for insurance companies, and he confirmed this to me. This messing with the grid by idiots in the Green Party is a total disaster. I have answered the question about the heating on the side of the house, the fan. You know the heating I'm talking about, the heat pumps. And I say all grants have to be for perfectly insulated houses. Why are they not giving them for drafty old houses? Because they don't work in either case. They're just electric central heating with a fancy figere put on it. The idea of burying the pipes under the ground, I was at several shows on that. The idea of burying pipes under the ground is all a lie. There's no heat down in the ground whatsoever. There's no heat. The idea that there's 26 degrees in Ireland, 20 feet down under the ground, that is a patent diabolical lie that was told to me by proponents of this at the RDS home exhibition 25 years ago. That is a lie. So it's all based on the fact that you can't put electricity into a bag, you can't see it, and there's a lot of people are not up to speed. We can't trust our government. Now, does that mean you shouldn't consider solar panels? I'm going to do some more research, and I'm going to make a video maybe later on what was the comments were made, because this is vital to people. We need to get down to the base truth. And as I say, I don't have the facilities to test these things or get into homes or test them. So we'll see you back, folks, with that. Comment underneath, and I'll be back on this, because if we keep at it, we'll eventually find out what they're doing, what this is all about. Surely there'll be companies supplying these things. What does that mean? You pay them, you're gone, oh, it's great, oh, it's great. It's in 2 years' time you want to know. In 3 years' time. As I said about the electric cars, everyone will buy the first one. Will they buy the second one? That is the question. Will they keep this going? Is this the answer? I think that solar has a little contribution, but it's only a niche problem, a niche product. And we seem to be getting to a point where making your own out of diesel, just the same as the government does, might be the answer. I mean, if the government can spend 56 lorry loads of diesel fuel a day to keep the lights on, why shouldn't I run my house with a diesel generator? And the only answer to that is the noise. It's the noisy. That's the problem. That's the problem. We'll see you back. Thank you. Good luck. Comment underneath. Bye.